my loves, welcome or welcome back to another tutorial.
Get up on the floor, dancing all night long. Get up on the floor, dancing to the break of dawn. Get up on the floor, dancing to the break of...
Today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make that flare bell bottom palazzo pants you saw in the first clip or the thumbnail. For materials, I used yeye yarn. I used 2 strands of these at once, and I used these 4 shades of pink. I used black for the band and the bottoms. For hooks, I used 5 different hooks. Wow, I know, right? So I used my 3.0 millimeter for the main body of the trouser, and then for the bell bottoms I started switching hooks to 3.5, 4.0, 0.50, and then lastly 5.0 millimeter. Also, you need a pair of scissors for this. You need your measurement tape, and you need some stitch markers. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. I'm starting off with the black, and to make the waistband I would make a slip knot. I'm also starting with my 3.0 millimeter hook for the waistband, and I would insert my hook in my slip knot, chain 15 plus 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is 15 chains, and I will chain 1 to turn. So I chained 15 because it measures the height I want my waistband to be, which is 3 inches high. This is quite big for a waistband, so if you want less, you could chain less. If you want more, you could chain more. After chaining 15 plus 1 turning chain, I would make 1 single crochet in every chain from the second chain from the hook. So I'll go into the back bump with a single crochet stitch and make 1 single crochet in every stitch till I get to the end of this. I should have 15 single crochets at the end. I'm back, and I just put the last single crochet in the last stitch. Once I've done this, I should have 15. I would chain 1, turn, and for row 2 of the waistband I would work 1 back loop single crochet in every stitch. So insert in the back loop only, and you make a single crochet. Insert in the next, make a single crochet, and just work in the back bump, or rather the back loop of all the stitches. This is what would give you the rib effect. I have a tutorial on how to crochet ribbons. I would link that in the description box, because I know I'm working with black for this ribbon part, and I apologize, I really just want this part to be in black, but for the rest of the trousers we will not be working in black. Okay, so just do as I say. If you can't really see what I'm doing, you make sure you don't skip the last stitch. You go into that with 1 single crochet, and to make sure you're on track, you can always count your stitch. It's supposed to be the number you started with: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, which is 15 in my case. To work row 3 of the waistband and subsequent rows, you would do this: chain 1, turn, and in the back loop only you work single crochet, maintaining the stitch count of 15 stitches. You keep working single crochet in every stitch, chain 1 at the end, turn, and continue. You would do this till you have your waist measurement. So the waist measurement I'm using for this is 29 inches, and I'll do this till I have 29 inches. I'll come back and show you guys how many rows I did and measure it out for you guys to see. You guys, I'm back, and I've made 118 rows. That's a lot, I know, but that's what is required. You could see it's this long, and I have my waist measurement, so I'll measure that out for you guys to see. It measures 29 inches. 25 actually, with a little stretch 29. And also the waist measurement I'm using for this is 39 inches. You would see that if I tug on this a lot, it could stretch all the way to 39. What does that mean for us? It means it would sit on our waist 29 inches, and it will also pass through our hips 39 inches. So when stretched, it would pass through our hips. And this is what you want to do. You want to make a band for however many rows it takes to be your waist measurement, and when that is stretched, it will stretch to your hips measurement. Okay, once we're done doing this, we'll move on to the next step, which is joining the band. To join the band, after your last single crochet in the back loop, you just chain one, and I like joining using a single crochet stitch. So I would insert my hook in both loops of the first stitch on this side and in both loops of the first stitch on the other side. I'll make a single crochet. I like to say, if you already have a part you want to be your inner part, you should join there, but I think all the sides are okay for me. So this side I'm joining on is my inner part, because this part would carry the seam, right? You want to make a single crochet join in every stitch. This should be about 15 single crochets for me. That's the number I started with, because that should be the number I ended with, right? If I didn't increase or decrease, if I was on track. So you should have the number you started with, and it should join evenly with the other side. Just make one single crochet through both loops of both sides from beginning till the end. When I'm done joining it together, I have this. So this is our seam and this is our back of the short. The outside or the right side would be like this. Looks seamless, it looks perfect. So you want to turn this now so that you're working on the right side. So you want to work your first row at the front. Once you figured it out, turning it, and now you're working on the knit side, this is still the back, and we would have our stitch marker come into play now, because we would need to mark the very first stitch of every round. Once you've done this, you just want to put your hook back in position. I'll still be using the 3.0 millimeter hook. If I change, I would do well to let you know. And you want to work one single crochet in every row. But here's the thing, right? One ridge like this consists of 2 rows. I hope you can see that clearly. One ridge consists of 2 rows. So I'll work one single crochet here, one single crochet in between, and one single crochet down. Just stick with me. First of all, let me put my very first single crochet in this midpoint. That's the join point. So that's one. And I would mark that using a stitch marker. And then next, I'll put my next single crochet. Now we're working on the rows. So one before the peak, one at the peak, and one after the peak. That's 3 single crochets in one row. And this is row 1 of the trousers, right? This row 1 is just a clean up row, to clean it up, to make it look neat before we start working actual rows, because the stitch we use for this is double crochet, but I'm using single crochet in black to clean it up, so we'll have a neat base to work with. And I said you put 3 single crochet in 2 single crochet row of the ribbon. So one single crochet would be in this space before the peak, one would be on the peak itself, and the next one will be in the space below the peak. Technically, you have only 2 spaces to work because it's 2 rows. That's 1 and 2. But we find a way to squeeze 1 here, and I will tell you why once we get along to start forming the trouser proper. But you want to follow this method really, because it will save you all the stress of increasing, and it will make your trouser sit properly. So I will do that round. putting 3 single crochet in 2 rows of ribbon till I get to this point. I would also count my stitches and tell you guys how many single crochets I did put before getting to this point and get back to you. So I know I told you guys to do 3 single crochet in every 2 rows. But as you can see, this is my workspace at the moment and I've loosened a bunch from when last you guys saw me. So I was proceeding to make the skirt. You see that in the next clip, but I realized it was too wide if I did 3 single crochets in every 2 rows. So here's the new thing, and I'm putting it here so you don't go ahead to make the mistake before I now put this clip. I would now do 3 single crochet in every 2 rows. So this stitch marker was my first single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Then in the next 2 rows of ribbon I will do 2 single crochet, 3 in the next 2 rows, 2 in the next, and with that I had 147 single crochet all round. I will go ahead and keep making the trouser like I would in the next clip. You will see whatever instructs I would do now, but I just want you guys to not make the mistake I made. I make 3 in every stitch, because at first it looks like, oh, it's already giving my hip measurement, but when you think of it, my hip does not start immediately after my waist, right? It does not attain that exact hip size. It's like a, what's it called, hourglass. So it starts getting thicker before it gets really thick and starts getting slimmer. So you don't want to have your hip measurement, or you don't want to have it too wide at the beginning. Really, I put it on because I had made a couple rows, hence the losing, and it was just too wide, honestly. So not as, it was not so wide, but it was not fitting, and I like fitted crochet outfits. So I made this correction. I wanted to show you guys. With this correction now, I don't know if I would have my hip measurement already at the beginning, but I would see if I don't, right? If I don't have my hip measurement after a couple rows of double crochet, say 4 rows of double crochet, that will be row 5, considering this single crochet row is row 1. If I don't have my hip measurement at that point, I might have to increase at the edge, and if I do that, I'll come and show you guys what I did. I apologize for this mistake. So guys, I am done with round 1, almost done. You could see it's also flaring out a bit, and because this band is our waist measurement, but we're trying to see if we could attain our hip measurement here already, so we would not have to do increases at the edge and all that. So I would update you guys on that. If you're done with your row 1, we would slip stitch to the very first stitch. Now this is why I don't like turning, because this stitch that the slip stitch created causes problem, and the seam line you get is another problem. But I think I have a way around it. So let's see. I would show you guys. Once you've slip stitch to join, you will chain 2 now to get to round 2. You turn your work, and you can see I've already attached my pink yarn because I'm working this trouser in different shades of pink, and I don't want to have a lot of ends to weave in end of the day. So I attached it using the invisible join method. I would link a tutorial to this in the description box. You could check that out. However, after you chain 2, you will turn. This very first stitch here, this tiny one, is the one we got from the slip stitch that we made. So you wouldn't work in this stitch. You would start working in the next stitch by yarn over, insert your hook, pull through 3 loops on your hook, pull through 2, pull through 2, and that's a double crochet stitch. I have a tutorial on how to make that. If it's quite too fast for you, I would link that. I would also link a tutorial on how to make the single crochet stitch, which is the stitch we used for row 1. So this is row 2, and we're making it in double crochet. I think we're also using treble crochet in these pants. I'm not sure yet, but if we are, I will tell you the different stitches. For now, I'm doing the double crochet stitch, and I'll just make 1 double crochet in every stitch from row 1. No increase, no decrease, just place 1 double crochet in every previous double crochet stitch. And I'll meet you guys when we are back here to show you guys how to end off. You guys, I'm almost done with the first round. I'll put the second to the last double crochet, And you see this space that the chain 2 is originating from, I'll put a double crochet in that space because it's also a stitch, because chain 2 does not count as a stitch. I realize if I maybe say chain 3 and make it count as a stitch and I don't put a stitch here, it gives like space, and you know this is the part that will be facing the back. I wouldn't want that open spaces, I don't like it. So I do chain 2 and I don't make it count as a stitch. And when you turn around, the slip stitched stitch, the illusion stitch that the slip stitch creates, is the first one, so you skip it and you make double crochet in every stitch, including this last stitch where the chain 2 originated from. If you go round back and count this, it should give you the same number your single crochet round, that's your round 1, give you. Okay, once we are done with round 2, you would slip stitch at the very top of the first stitch. So this is our chain 2 and this is the top of our first stitch. You would slip stitch there, you will chain 2, turn your work, and then you would skip this stitch because it's the illusion stitch, and you would make 1 double crochet in the next. But before we move forward, I want to show you guys something about the measurements, right? You see it's kind of fanning out, and this is actually what I wanted. Remember I told you the measurement of the hips for this is 39 inches 40 inches, right? So let's say 39 inches divide by 2. So just fold your tape measure into 2 for the hip measurement. That's 19.5. When we measure this out, by the way, not like measuring it out like this, following the curve because it's still like curly, just like straighten it out a bit, tug on it to just get what it will give when you work more rows. You'd see it's about 18.5, 19.5 ish. What does this mean? This means when you go round, it is 39 inches 40 inches. That's the exact hip measurement. So we've managed to do the waistband to be the waist measurement, right? This would sit on our waist, but from this subtle, is it really an increase? This act of putting 3 single crochet in 2 rows of the ribbon, we've managed to flare this out, so we already have our hip measurement as it is. I remember this band also stretches to accommodate the hip. When you curve it, when you stretch it, it could pass your hip measurement, and when it sits on your waist, it sits perfect, even though we'll later add a drawstring at the end. Continue now making rounds and rounds of double crochet. When I get there, I slip stitch, turn my work, go round, slip stitch, switching my colors in between. Just keep up like I'm working a skirt basically. I would not have to increase at the sides of the hips because I already have my hip measurement. In the case that you don't have your hip measurement, you want to put a stitch marker at both sides of the hips, and when you get there you make an increase and whatnot. But that is what I was trying to avoid by getting my hip measurements beforehand. So now I'll just keep making rows and rows till I get an approximate of my round fly. I'm using for this trouser is about 25-26 inches. The round fly is the measurement from your belly button all the way to your crotch, back up through both your legs and to your back where you want your waistband to sit. I will pop up a picture of what the round fly measurement should look like if you don't know. And then you want to do this for rows, no increase, no decrease. So far you have your hips measurement. Almost like you're working a sketch, right? And if you're changing colors, change colors in between till you have your round fly minus 3. So for me that I'm using round fly 26, that will be 26 minus 3. That will be 23 inches. So I'll come back to you guys when I have an approximate of 23 inches round fly. You guys, I am back and this is what I have. So if you see, if you measure it, it's giving 16. That's 16 times 2. I think that's 32. So if we take it round, it will give us 32. But it stretches to 19 and half. And 19 and half will give us 39 round. which is perfect. That's my hip measurement, right? So I didn't have to increase at any point. And if you wear it here, it's still snug on your waist, giving you that hourglass figure. When it comes here, it expands to accommodate your hips, and would only be doing decreases at the leg region. That's if you want to even do decreases, if you want that fitted look before your flare, right? I would know if I want that when I'm going forward. So I hope that is clear. If you have any questions, please drop them in comment section. I'll do well to answer. I'm sorry for the confusion. Also, I think I need to say this. I like the way my colors put in. I told you guys I was going to get back to you once I have my round fly -3. I told you guys I'm using 26 for my round fly and -3, that would land us in 23 inches. So I was looking to get my round fly 23 inches divided by 2. This is 11 and a half. And I'm doing this divide by 2 thing because it goes round. So let me show you guys what I mean. This is the top, right? 1 inches. It measures about 9.2 inches. But when you tug on this, you see it stretches to 11.2. And I'm 11.5, sorry. And I'm doing this because I know this yarn stretches. So you always want to take into consideration if the yarn you're using stretches or not. And if you double this by 2, that's here, and going round to this place like this, that would give you your measurement of 23 inches. The thing is that I just do for one side, that's why I say 23 divided by 2. Also for the hip measurement, I do 39 divided by 2. That's because I don't want to take the stress to take my tape round. This helps me get a good measurement, if you know what I mean. Since I now have my round fly -3, that 3 inches that we removed, we would put it back now. So once you get this, you've gotten your round fly -3, you would now want to mark, you see I've not ended the last round. I want to mark out my middle stitch because here we will be parting the legs for the trouser. So I have 147 stitches, right? If you divide that by 2, we should get 73.5. Yeah, 73.5. What I like to do, however, is since I have an odd number of 147, I'll subtract one, that's 146. Divide that even number by 2, and I will have 73. So I would count 73 stitches all the way and mark my 74th stitch. And if I mark that, I should have 73 stitches all the way back. Okay, so I've marked my middle stitch. It took a bit of time for me to figure it out, to count and mark, but I have. Even if you don't have an odd number, just make sure you mark the stitch that is in the middle. Say when you count this side and this side, maybe it's just one number or two numbers off, but make sure you mark the stitch in the middle. So I have 73 stitch on this side, 73 on this side. This is my 74th. This is my middle stitch. This is my last stitch at the back. So when you join this together, you have the space for one leg here and the space for the other leg here. So to move forward now, this is my 16th row. So I would go ahead and close off my 16th row by slip stitching at the top of the very first double crochet, like I always have been doing to slip stitch. But this time around, we will not chain 2 and turn. We would chain a chain that is equal to the 3 inches that we have subtracted for the round fly. So I'll just chain. Let me chain 12 and check it across my measuring tape. And 12 chains for me measures 3 inches. Yes, it stretches to 3 inches. So we would keep this chain straight. We'll make sure we don't twist it, and you come right to the middle chain, to the middle stitch that you've marked, and you'd slip stitch. You'd attach it to this point with a slip stitch, but I like to attach it from the front, so I'll just draw up a loop there, put my hook in this, and making sure my chain is facing one side, pull through, chain 1. Once I've done this, I can keep making my rounds now for one leg, but if you realize, it will be facing the front of my work. This is the front, this is the back. It will be facing the front of my work, and I don't want that. So I'll just go ahead and cut this off, pull through, and tug on it so it is secure. I can also measure this out round for you guys to see now. So let's see. From the top here, you tug on it, you have 12.5 inches, which is 25 inches when you go round it, and it's not bad. I think I'm going for 26 for my round fly. Mind you, this would still stretch a bit more once we have it on a couple times. So yes, this is perfect for me. What I would do now is, this is the direction of my stitch. I'm supposed to walk this way, but like I said, I won't continue walking from here. I've snipped it, and to keep on walking, I'll come back to the back because I want this my join line. All I want them to be at the back. If you start working from here, meaning you would end your rounds here, your join line will be here, and the front will now start to have a seam, and I don't want that. I want all my seams to be behind. Although it's neat, I still know there's a seam, and I want it to be behind. So what I would do is come behind and start working again, but this time around I'll be working in the same direction. I would make sure I'm not working in an opposite direction. And if you're not new to crochet, you know the direction you're supposed to work in. So this is the direction I'm supposed to work in for this piece. This is the front of this round. This is the back. So I'm supposed to walk this way. Okay. I hope that makes sense. If there's any question, ask or leave them in the description box. I would still use the color I used for here, even if I think I've gotten enough of that color. I just don't want the line to be worked, this crotch line to be worked in another color. So once I'm past the crotch a bit, I would change. I'll make a slip knot with my hot pink yarn, and I'll just attach it to the point where my back slip stitch is. Remove this. I would chain one to securely attach my yarn. Then I would make a double crochet. I'm trying to see if I can weave this in as I go. I'll make a double crochet at that same spot, but a standing double crochet. I make that by making a single crochet first, and then in the second leg of the single crochet, I make another single crochet. So this gives us the height of a double crochet. I did this because I don't want to chain 3 to count as a double crochet, but consequently I wouldn't have to do that. This will be my first double crochet. I will now work a double crochet in each of the 12 chains we chained for the crotch area. So it might be a bit tight, but you want to put your hook in there. In short, you're not supposed to make these chains very tight, because now we're working this leg there. When we come back to this other leg, we will still have to work stitches there. So you just make sure you try to get your hook in and do the number of stitches for the chains you made. Make sure you don't do any less or any more. So this is 2, 4, 5. I have 5 in. You have to turn it this way. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is the last chain I made, so that's 12. I would also make sure, let me tuck this behind. Okay. I'm trying to look for a way this can come behind to the inside. I like all my loose ends to be on the inside of the workpiece. I'll make sure I work 1 double crochet in that same stitch where we slip stitch. That's our 74th stitch. Yes. And now that all that is done, I can work 1 double crochet in every stitch from the previous row. So we started here because we want our seam to be at the back. Normally after slip stitching here, you're just supposed to kick off with a double crochet round till you get here, but I did that because I want my seam to be all in the same place. I think I'm ready to change my yarn now. So I'll just work one double crochet all the way till I get here, and I'll tell you guys how many stitches I have at the end of the day. You want to make sure you take note of how many stitch you have, because you want to make sure that is exactly what you do when you get to this side of the leg. So whatever we work on this side of the leg now, moving forward from round 17, this is the, you can either call it round 17 for the general trouser, or you could call it round 1 for the legs. So let me say round 17 or round 1, whichever. I don't want to confuse you. I would know what I'm saying, but I want you to also be carried along. Whatever you work here and for this leg moving forward, you want to write it down. So when you get to this leg, you would replicate the same thing and you would have even legs. Please don't miss out this crucial step. I'll meet you guys once I'm back here with how many stitches I had at the end of round 1 of the leg. Guys, I'm back to the very beginning and I have 86 stitches round, which makes absolute sense because I had 73 when I parted the legs, plus the 12 chains we did for the crotch. That's 75, then one extra because I also worked in the middle stitch. So you want to know this number, write it down somewhere, because we would have the same thing when we work on our second leg. I don't know if this is the right or left, so I'll just keep saying first leg, second leg, okay? Now to end this round, you slip stitch at the top of the very first double crochet you did, just like we've been doing to end rounds. You chain 2, turn your work, and then work your first double crochet in the last double crochet of the previous round, remembering to not work in this illusion stitch the slip stitch gives. It is just an illusion. And then remembering to work your last stitch on this place that the chain 2 is coming from. I would mark this very first one so I don't miss it, and at the end of round 2 I should also have 86 stitches, meaning no increase, no decrease. I'll keep working double crochet in all stitch. I'll meet you guys when I am almost done with round 2 of the leg, or round 18 of the trousers in general. So guys, I'm almost done with round 2 of the leg. I would just pull my last double crochet here, and that will make it 86, keeping to the stitch count I started with. And this is basically the pattern of the leg moving forward till you get the length you want. So I'm going to be working this. We would just be considering the thigh measurement. So I want you to measure your thigh. Mine is 23 inches. So this is saying 10 inches. From here to here is saying 10 inches. That's 20 inches if you take it round. But when I tug on it, it's going to give me 23, 24. So meaning it's okay for now. The measurement is perfect. You want to keep working these rounds without increase or decrease till you get the length from your waist to where your hips start to dip, like after your hips. So the measurement for me is 13.5, 14 inches ish. So I'll make rounds of double crochet, no increase, no decrease, till I get this length that I'm looking for, because I already have my thigh measurement. But if this is too big for your thigh or too small, you want to either decrease if it's too big or increase if it's too small. But mine is okay. Mine is my thigh measurement on the dot when stretched. Yes, so I'll do that till I get to the point where my legs start to slim down, my thigh starts to slim down, then I would start decreasing. So I'll do it off camera. I'll get back to you guys, tell you guys how many rounds I did, and when I start decreasing, I will come back and show you guys how to do that.